Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to the channel. As always, I'm Andrew Kavanaugh. I want to say thank you for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel, I'm going to be reviewing a new 4K disc of a movie that I was really excited for. When I found out that this was coming out in 4K, I was very, very happy because this is one of my favorite Clint Eastwood films. He is just really fantastic in this movie, as well as the other actors that are in it, and that is, of course, Wolfgang Petersen's In the Line of Fire. This is such a fantastic action suspense film. Clint Eastwood plays an aging Secret Service agent, and again, his part in this movie is great, but John Malkovich really gives a career-defining performance in this movie. He plays such a nutcase in this, and it's such a good part. And the movie as a whole is just very exciting, very suspenseful. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat. But Eastwood's performance in this is extremely charming. Again, great lines that come out of him in this movie. I really love him in this. And honestly, it's probably one of my favorite films of his. So when I heard that this was coming out in 4K, I got really excited. Ironically enough, this was actually a movie that was kind of hard to get. I was trying to get my hands on this for a little while. I ended up ordering it on Amazon, and I'm glad I did, because sadly, this was not a movie that was in a lot of stores. So I thankfully got it on Amazon there, and this is actually one of those 4K discs that does not come with a Blu-ray, but it does come with a bunch of special features on it that I'll go over later. It's just the 4K disc in a digital copy, and it has a little slip cover here. I'll show you the box on the inside. Again, very, very plain Jane type box here. You know, the script for this movie by Jeff McGuire is one of the great ones, honestly, in my opinion, because there are a lot of movies that deal with, like the Secret Service and guarding people and stuff, but this is one that kind of really gets it right all the way through, and I really enjoy this. This is just a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But I'm here today to talk about the 4K transfer here, because this is done with a 4K digital intermediate. And honestly, we're going to start with the picture quality here. I'm just going to go right out there and just say the picture quality on this is absolutely phenomenal. The clarity of the picture in this, due to the higher resolution, is the best I've ever seen it. And I've seen this movie going back to like the VHS days, and this movie has never looked better. There is a fine layer of grain all throughout the film. Never gets to the point where it's extremely heavy and distracting, but the grain in it is really, really good. I absolutely loved how beautiful this movie looks in its daytime scenes. It gets very, very bright, and that's thanks to the HDR10 on this disc. Is no Dolby Vision, but the HDR10 on this is really something to behold. The daytime scenes now are daylight bright, and I was very surprised because every other version of this movie that I've seen, the movie did seem to look I don't know why, it looked like a tinge darker than maybe it should have. But the nighttime scenes now look fantastic due to those black levels being just almost perfect in this. I really didn't detect any massive issues with the film at all. They really did a wonderful job of cleaning this movie up to the point where it just looks probably better than if you saw it in theaters back in the 90s. It's a phenomenal looking film. Detail level in this is also ultra high. Right from the get-go of the movie, you can see almost individual hairs on Clint Eastwood's head. The suits that he wears throughout, again, you can almost see like little fibers from the wool. It's really, really cool. It's very impressive. One little caveat about this movie, though, is that, again, it did come out in, I think, 1993. Yes, 93 it came out in. And they did use very, very, very limited amounts of CGI in this for the scenes where the president is speaking to large groups, and they kind of like CGI'd in like a large audience, and you can really tell it's CGI now. It's very apparent on this new transfer. And again, something to look out for if you watch the movie, but it doesn't really detract from the movie in a heavy way. It's just kind of a funny anecdote of how that was extremely high-tech back then, and now you look at it and it's like, you know, it looks kind of cheesy, you know? But it's still a fantastic movie, and the HDR10 on this is really something to behold. Colors throughout in this movie are much more lifelike, much more vibrant. The clothing that's worn in the movie, really, the colors kind of really jump out at you. One thing I noticed in particular is a couple times Clint Eastwood wears like a red tie, kind of like in the cover here. And those reds and greens and even blues in this, the blue skies of Washington, D.C., really are much more vibrant and lifelike than they were before. Skin tones in this are also just dead-on accurate. There is one scene in particular where Clint Eastwood gets sick, and you can almost kind of see like the sweat dripping off his face, and you can kind of tell like his color is kind of drained in those scenes, and it's great. I don't know if it's makeup or just whatever they did, but you can really kind of tell, like, you know, Clint Eastwood's not feeling too good in this scene. But they did a really good job with that. I really enjoyed that. And again, the picture as a whole on this is really something to behold. I really love that. Other than that, the other big thing they did for this is they gave it a brand new Dolby Atmos track. So the music in this sounds so good. Again, just an amazing soundtrack on this film. Ennio Morricone, and I've always loved the score for this film. You know, just bet on Ennio to make a score for a movie about the Secret Service to have a pan flute in it. It kind of boggles the mind how this man did this, but he was such an unconventional and massively creative composer that he could do things with a movie score that nobody else could ever do. And the score for this film is probably his most underappreciated. I mean, everybody goes to like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and the Untouchables and stuff like that, but this is the one for me from him, and I love it. There's a love theme that's in the movie that is just absolutely gorgeous. The score is fantastic, but the other thing about the Dolby Atmos track on this is that it really does brighten up the dialogue a little bit. Dialogue is very crystal clear, easy to hear. Sound effects, even though there aren't a ton of them, they are very well placed. It's very, very clear. I didn't have any issues with sound level. I didn't have to crank it up or anything like that. It was just a very, very good sound mix. And Sony, again, just going the extra mile. They didn't have to do a Dolby Atmos track for this. Because honestly, I mean, the movie would have been fine with the old 5.1 track, but they went the extra mile and they did it. And I'm very grateful for that because they did a really good job with it. And I mean, the movie as a whole, it's just a phenomenal release from Sony here. The movie does come with an audio commentary from Wolfgang Petersen. There's 5 deleted scenes, a featurette about the Secret Service, a whole featurette about the Secret Service catching counterfeiters, which I think is really interesting, something they deal with kind of briefly at the beginning of the film. A little featurette about how they did certain scenes. It's called How They Do That. Behind the scenes with the Secret Service, which is actually a very fascinating featurette if you want to see a little bit about the real Secret Service, kind of interesting, and a theatrical teaser for the film. One of my favorite theatrical teasers of all time. Again, one of these teasers that shows next to nothing about the film. I really miss those. It seems like a lot of movie trailers that come out these days kind of show you the whole stinking movie, and the whole movie's spoiled. You know, there are no surprises anymore, but that one there gives you just enough to know what the movie's about, and it's a really good one. I really enjoy that, and it's on the disc here. So, again, high marks for Sony for this one. If you like this movie, I highly recommend it. I love this film. And yeah, definitely go out and get In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood here. Just a fantastic film overall. This new 4K disc is worth every penny, and I'll leave a link below to Amazon in case you want to pick it up. And needless to say, it really deserved that spot on my most anticipated 4K discs. I'm really excited that this turned out as good as it did. But anyway, that's all for today for Kavanaugh's Corner. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel below so I can bring you more videos like this. Until next time, please stay safe and take it easy.